I don't know how many times I have to hear the same story over and over again. How many people are going to tell me the same news, each time a little differently, with a little more information. I wonder how many times I will get to hear the same news, each time told to me just a little differently. I wonder how long it will take before I get a real picture of what happened, to see what it all means to me. I still didn't remember being there. I think someone put something into my diet soda I was drinking from. I know I never took that drink out of my eyesight, but that drink had to have been tainted before I even got that first sip. Well, I knew that I would be getting lunch while I was at work. And the last thing that I actually remember was actually going off my work day. You see, I went to Gordon's Café, where they usually have lunch, where I forgot to bring my own food. The next thing I remember was that I was in a hallway of a building. I only rediscovered that this was actually the basement of the building after I was there. They had witnesses there, and they had witnesses that were there, and they were asking that witness questions. Oh, who they thought was attractive, and did they live alone? I didn't know what this was going on, or if they were going to ask me these questions like this too. And then I saw one man asking questions, and I saw that he had a gun. So I figured I must have been knocked out, so I knew I had to keep myself together. So I thought for a brief moment, and I checked my body, checked my head or whatever, to see if any parts of my body were in pain. They weren't. Well, I thought it would be a good idea, and it's always a good sign to not be in pain. So I pressed on my forehead, and I tried to squint my eyelids for a little bit so that it looked like I was actually in pain. I thought maybe that would be a natural way to act like I was in pain and still concentrate on what the other guy was saying. I thought I might be next. So then, a couple of guys were there. They were dressed the same way, wearing gray slacks. And then I started to look around, and I could see that they all had guns, too. But just before I noticed that there had to be like 10 of them in this room, the water sprinklers came on, like only 5 seconds after the fire alarm started going off. Now, everyone in the room just went into this sort of a panic, and the guy next to me, who was in regular business clothes, grabbed my hand and said, "Let's go out through a side door and go to the right." I started to look around, and I saw that everyone is running around, and that anyone running the show, they were all, and the people that were there, even the ones that had guns, they all seemed to be in a state of panic. So I just kind of followed this stranger out the door. No one even noticed us leaving the room in the basement. He must have been conscious when he first went into that room. I didn't know my way around that basement. I followed him until we got to the lobby level, and the guy wanted to just keep on going right out of the doors, and I stopped, and I told the people at the front doors that there were men with guns in the basement. It was right by the elevator. That's when I actually told them this. Okay. So I wasn't a hero in that scene. I never get caught in scenes where I have to do something that I normally wouldn't do. If it wasn't for this guy who was right next to me in the basement, I probably would have never even moved from my seat. The guys with the guns, they got caught later that day, and then they tried to take a hostage or two before they got caught, but they gave up. And they didn't even get any of the money they wanted. I guess that's what a happy ending is all about, I guess, after all. No one got hurt. But what does it mean to anyone? I mean, to anyone that actually sees the story on the news? Probably not much, because they didn't live through it. No, it was just I who lived it.